I'm Rose, and I'm 71. I was born in 1952.
So at the moment, what classes are you doing here?
Oh, blimey. As many as I can get into, really. I was double booked on Thursday. So mostly the belly dance with Janet, but I'm doing dancing with another group in Eastwood and another group in Cotgrave.
Are they all belly dancing
Yes,
as well?
yes.
Yeah. And are you involved in other activities here at the centre?
Yes. So I'm volunteering. I do shamanic drumming. I've been talking about crystals and tarot, and anything else art and craft wise I get involved in.
So very much part of this Clarendon Chambers community.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely place.
So you said you're doing belly dancing. Is that a new thing?
Oh no. I've been belly dancing with Janet for about 25 years.
And how did you get into belly dancing?
I was a community development worker at Broxton, at the then Broxton College in Nottingham. And part of I taught a little bit, and I also had to put courses on in the days that government had money to fund adult education. So I was putting courses on in Eastwood, Long Eaton, Sawley, a little bit in Beeston, but mostly Eastwood. And I was asked to find a belly dance tutor. And I found Janet. And she came along with a ghetto blaster and a costume to see if I wanted to dance. I said, no, I want you to teach. So Janet started teaching, I joined her, and I've been with her ever since, in one way or another.
And is that just coming to classes, or do you perform?
Oh yeah, we've had a few groups along the way. I can't remember all the names that we've called ourselves, but yeah, we've performed on Theatre Royal, on stage on the Theatre Royal. We've been filmed a couple of times, and then we go to various haflas, which is like belly dance parties. So yes, up and down the country really.
And is it all the same sort of thing, belly dancing? Or, like you see on the telly with the skimpy costumes?
No. No, our bellies aren't out. No, you dress comfortable, dress how you feel. Some people are more comfortable showing quite a lot, and some people don't want to show much at all. So I think I've mostly been in just full costumes, just a long dress. I did go through a phase of bra and skirt. In the beginning, when I was much younger and much thinner.
And do you do tribal as well?
No. Tribal's not my thing. Totally different, a bit more rigid for me. I like the freedom of belly dance. Although we taught steps in belly dance, I think I'm a bit of a free spirit, and I just dodge around where I feel like it.
And although you got into belly dancing through work, have you always danced? Were you dancing when you were a little kid?
Oh yes. I started dancing with my dad, so it had been in the 50s actually. I was born in 52, so I'd only be about 4, 5, and jukebox jury used to come on a Saturday, and my dad used to push all the furniture back and jive with me, throw me all over the place, and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. Used to have a real good time with him. And then my dad's sister, her son was in a band, and so we used to go and see him, and he played at a lot of social clubs, so that was another dance. And I used to have special dance dresses made, so it was a real sort of occasion. We used to go out as a family, and sort of 4, 5, 6, it was a proper family thing then to go out. And then I did ballroom dancing, probably 8, something like that.
So that's where you were going to a class?
Yes. So I got my bronze in ballroom dancing. And then I became a teenager and went a bit haywire and started doing all sorts of other dances. And the 60s were coming in, so it was new things, changes with the 60s music. And I used to go to a youth club, and it was a bit wild in those days, lots of screaming to the Beatles and whatnot, so we used to dance in. I've been to see, did I see live Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas first of all? I remember dancing in the aisles and screaming, and my mum looked on in absolute horror. What are you doing? But then it sort of switched because the Tamla Motown and the blues is coming in. And I think I was just on the cusp of proper, reggae music coming in. And there was a pirate ship that was anchored offshore that used to play reggae music because it was banned on the radio. They wouldn't allow it to be played, and they used to you used to be able to get reggae music in one of the downtown sort of CD things where well, I think it was tapes that you used to get of all the reggae music. But it was a lot of and there was in the Meadows social clubs, and it was the thing to go down if you was into that sort of music. It was there. It was all the neon lights and where all the bits showed up on your jumpers and everything. But it was real proper reggae. And a bit later, all around the centre of town, they used to hold what they called blues. And it was a house that would be turned over to music, a bit of drinking, a bit of gambling. But you'd walk along the road and listen for the music. And that's where you knew the blues party was. And the whole house would throb. I mean, it would throb. And you'd go inside and you just felt the beat. It just got you in your heart. It was amazing. So I've been a massive fan of drumming and that sort of beat for a long, long time. So I'd be 16, 17, 18, and then into the clubs. Always danced in nightclubs. Didn't used to go for the drinking, didn't used to go for the boys, just used to go for the dancing.
So you've never stopped?
I've never stopped. Never stopped dancing. And I think the belly dance came in when I was probably a little bit too old to be going to clubs. I think that's why I sort of really got into the belly dancing, because it had always been in me. And I suppose it was the social side of it and the dressing up. And really, when belly dance started, I think I went into it whoosh, 100%. It was pretty full on, Janet used to say, "Whoa," and try and rein me back.
So when you come here and you dance, what makes you sort of drive over town to come all the way here?
Just because it feels so comfortable. I mean, that's always been my home where there's been dance. It's been my escape through some pretty bad times. And when you couldn't or didn't want to talk to anybody, if you just came and danced, you got that time just to forget. And you was in a different place, different space. I've always found people I've danced with to be, really supportive. So it's that special place. And even now, it's that, oh, get me away from Mark and give me a couple of hours peace, And so it's still an escape, really, but it's a good escape. I mean,
and I know that you've performed as well, solos as well as in
yes.
groups. How do you feel about that?
Oh my God, embarrassed. It's that, oh my God. I think that was just a phase of becoming. I mean, I was really shy. At one point, I would have spoken to nobody. And if I was if I was at a social sort of get-together, in mixed company, for example, I'd sit in my seat and I wouldn't move until my partner, my husband or somebody moved with me. I was really painfully shy, you know, it was embarrassing. And I think the belly dancing just gave me that confidence. Didn't come initially, but bit by bit. And I think it just exploded a little bit when I was doing solos. I found my mojo, found my confidence, and it was out to hell with it. This is me, sort of thing.
And do you think you will carry on dancing?
Of course I will. I'll carry on dancing till I drop. I won't know what to do without it.
Do you think there's a connection between your other passions around shamanic pathways, healing, crystals, and I know you've had a sort of crystal shop and things. Is there a connection between that and belly dancing as a dance choice?
I suppose there is, really. I've never sort of thought of it as connected, but I mean, I suppose it is, because the with the drumming, the shamanic drumming, the beat, the ideal way of going into a trance is to listen to the beat. So I suppose in dance you're still in a trance, aren't you? You go into an altered state of consciousness. That's what it is. And I suppose if you think of the, you know, the loud music in a disco, you just do your thing in an altered state of consciousness. You don't have to be drunk or drugs or anything like that. It's just a different state. And the idea is that you become a different being, you know, because you've got many different selves. In the spiritual world, we think of, you know, different selves of yourself, you know. And it's not only spiritual, it's counselling as well. I did train as a counsellor, and my daughter said a funny thing to me the other day. She says, "Mum, have you taken LSD before?" I said, "No." I says, "Why have you?" She says, "No." She says, "But they're making it legal now. They're going to legalise LSD as a drug, the medical profession, because there's so many people with anxiety and depression, so many youngsters." I says, "Well, now you understand the trance thing of the drum, because going into a trance makes you go to an altered state where you lose that lack of self-worth, the lack of criticism of yourself. You just do it. And, you know, the LSD sort of heightens that, I suppose. I don't know, because I haven't taken it. But I get where it would be therapeutic in moderation. I get where it would help you to be in a different space that you'd never been before. Like I was too shy to get up and walk across the room. If I hadn't been in a different space, I'd probably still be in that shy state. You sort of got to face it and do it to become something else.
And when you come into this studio, say on a Tuesday night for belly dancing, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling?
Absolutely nothing. I think that's the release of it. You don't have any agendas. It's just come and be and express. And I think that's the joy of it. It's just, everything else just goes away. I can remember dancing when my dad was dying, and I really struggled with losing my dad. And I used to come in tears sometimes, but by the end of the night, it just all drained away. It just, you know, you're in that moment and nothing else matters in that moment. The dancing sort of takes over you. Very, very cathartic, I think.
And dancing, particularly in this building, I know you're involved in so many activities here. Do you ever get a feel that this is a place of dance?
Oh, definitely. It's got a real, excuse me, it's got a real energy about it. When you come into this room in particular, you can feel it, you know, you just feel the sense of it's inclusive. It's just a space where there's no need to be afraid. There's no need to be feeling self-conscious or worried about anything. And I think the walls say it, the bars on, you know, the ballet bars that are still there, the windows even. It's just that timeless, well, this is what it's always been, and it's a joy.
And have you seen the spirit of Miss Morrison wandering around?
No. I might run a mile if I did. I've not witnessed that yet, Mo.
Is there anything else that you would like to say about how dance makes you feel, or your relationship to dance?
Just never be afraid of it, I suppose. Just, you know, I mean, I've seen people who are really self-conscious and really, oh no, I don't do that, I can't do that. And it just never be afraid. Just let yourself go. There's nothing that's going to hurt you or harm you, or, you know, and particularly when you're in a group of women, I have to say, more so. I think that's even more supportive. I think that's really a safe place to let yourself go. So try it, do it. Until you do it, you won't know if you like it or not. But I guarantee you, once you do start dancing, you'd love it. People who don't dance, I just like, I don't. There's like a part of you missing, and that must feel awful. And I think even as you're older, you know, it's particularly during COVID, I could feel myself sort of sinking a bit. Although I did have a network even then, I think that was important because we did video dance. So there was still a little bit of a link and a network going on. And I think that got all of us through. If that hadn't have been around, you know. But the times when there hasn't been dance, I can feel my age creeping in. But when I'm dancing, there's no age. It's just what you do. It's just, you go with what you can do and let your body do what it does.